He's like, I remember one day I went in, I saw the Kung Fu guys were working, and they had like motorcycle helmets on. They were like beating the shit out of each other in the head. And I was like, oh yeah, I know. That's why I didn't do the conditioning. Welcome back to the final episode of Digitally Distracted, for now, for Season 1. I am Game Dave.
I'm Gerald.
And today we're going to be talking about some, not so gamey topics. Just, give you guys a chance to get us, to get to know us a little bit better, Some non-gaming ways and some other more awkward ways. But we'll talk about that later. Gerald doesn't know about that. Gerald,
I have no idea.
Classic me, leaving Gerald out of the loop. But yeah, this is going to sort of sum up our... It's a nice endpoint. 20 full episodes of Digitally Distracted. I know many of you will be, there will be tears of flowing, but don't worry. Things might revamp as things change. We'll talk more about that at the end of the episode, but stay tuned for this one. Today, we're going to talk about our non-gaming hobbies and interests, and also some other things from one of our commenters who asked a very interesting question or wanted to know more about a particular topic, but we'll save that. It's going to get juicy. So, Gerald, video games, for me, have always been a big thing. My biggest hobbies have always been gaming and filmmaking, or really just making movies and making entertainment, things like that. I was really into movie making growing up. And, I know you have some interest in the theatrics, right? Was that ever anything that was more intense than just... liking the idea of being in things? Like, did you do, I don't know, theater?
No, yeah, I did that in high school and college and little community theater after college. Okay. And, of course, did some stuff on your channels, which was a lot of fun.
Yes, we've made many a video together. Maybe I'll release a couple of secret links to those.
That'd be fun.
For the close watchers.
And it's funny, that's actually the only acting I'm interested in doing anymore. The whole stage acting thing I'm completely over.
You know what's interesting about stage acting is because again, this is great. I did 9 years of community theater.
Wow.
9 years when I was younger. So from probably, I'd say from 9 until maybe 8. Maybe 8 until high school. I was in community theater.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it started. Here's a story for you. So elementary school, I was a very outgoing kid in elementary school, which you might be like, oh, well, duh, you don't shut up. You're on the internet. You never stop talking. You never let Gerald talk. I let him say, though. I was in elementary school. I was very outgoing. And in second grade, I'd never done anything like acting or really understood acting. Maybe I liked the idea of movies, and maybe it was like, I want to be in movies. But second grade rolls around. I went to this little bumpkin elementary school known as Hartley Elementary here in Delaware, and very southern little school around here. Very small student body, which is, I thrived really well in that nice small knit community. And they were having the big Christmas play. Now, when I say small knit community, this was back when, you would understand this too, back when we went to elementary school. When we were in elementary school, it was called Christmas break. Nowadays, it's winter break. And, at our school, it was the Christmas play. And it was kind of a requirement that everybody was involved in the sense of everybody had to attend it. And, some would just sit in the bleachers and they would do the sing-along songs throughout the performance or whatever. And then there were like parts that happened on stage, whatever. And I was very involved. And it was like, there were some Charlie Brown reference things where they literally like talking about Jesus and stuff. Like, no way, not in a million years could you get away with having a real full-on, clearly Christmas celebration in a public school. But back in our day, my teachers had Christmas trees up in their classroom. There were presents. Kids got presents, before Christmas break. That was just a thing.
Yep.
Nowadays, not really. And it's called like, today's our holiday party. Or, you have to be careful, and you have to really like hide behind what it is and not really do it in the way that you would. But back then they had the big Christmas play. It was a huge deal. All of the grade levels were involved in it. And there was like 3 or 4 big sort of shows that happened on stage, and there was a bunch of like sing-alongs and things. And it happened in the evening, and it was like a thing. They pushed you. Everybody goes to these. Nowadays, you can't force a kid to go to some extracurricular activity or be in a play. And they had parts happening where they were going to like, we have this big thing where it's called The Littlest Christmas Tree. That was the overarching name of the performance. And they were going to have the story be about Santa trying to pick out which Christmas tree he wanted for his house for Christmas. And all of the trees were, going to be played by kids. And there was one tree that was the littlest tree, little Charlie Brownish.
Right. That was you?
No.
Oh.
No. So, and it was about Santa picking this one, and the other trees were kind of like bullies. And they're like, why do you want that crappy little tree? You want a big fluffy tree.
Right.
And I was like, I want to be Santa Claus because he's the main character, right? Santa Claus. I want to be the Santa man. And I was very skinny, I was a tiny little kid. And I remember when we were like doing our practices or whatever, and like you could volunteer that you wanted to be in something or whatever. And I guess you could audition. And I was like, I want to be Santa Claus, 2nd grade. And my teacher was like, you're no Santa Claus. I mean, come on. You're too small. You're too skinny to be Santa Claus. I'm like, what? Why? Oh, I want to be Santa. He's the main character. He's the man. And this other teacher, I don't remember her name. I never had her as a teacher, but she pulled my teacher aside. I was like, just let the boy audition. Let him try it. Maybe he seems like he really wants to be Santa. I mean, no other kids were like, yeah. I was like, I want this part. This is the role I was born to play. And she was like, just let him try it. And I'm like, okay. And I guess I auditioned, and they were like, oh my God, we got it.
They were fainting.
Clutch my pearls. And they're like, well, we're going to have to get some padding.
You sealed it, man.
Yeah. And they were like, okay, all right. And it was so fun. Oh my gosh, I loved it. And I still have the VHS tape of that performance from 2nd grade.
And it was just like you remembered it, huh?
I think my stuff was. I think it was all right, but it was so weird the way they set it up because, we're little kids and they, projecting and things like that. So they hung because of wired mic. There weren't wireless mics accessible in our little elementary school back then. So they hung these full corded XLR mics from the ceiling, and they would just be kind of like hanging. So if you had a line, you would kind of like make sure you were near the mic so you could speak into it. It'd be like hanging. Like, well, I don't know, Mrs. Claus, but we better find a Christmas tree. And then she would like come over to him like, you're right, Santa. Yeah, it was very weird. And I remember I had a crush on the girl that played Mrs. Claus.
Wow.
How interesting. I wonder what she's doing now. That's the problem with Facebook. Stay off Facebook, kids.
Right.
Then you'll start looking up people that you shouldn't be looking up.
Later on, he's going to be typing up
Mrs.
Claus.
Mrs. Claus. What was her name? I don't even remember her name. She'll come up. I'm sure it's on her Facebook, her past job experience. Mrs. Claus, 2nd grade elementary play. And so I got the part, and then they stuffed me up. And it was awesome. It was super fun. I loved it. That's where I kind of got the acting bug. I was like, ooh, I want to do this all the time. I love memorizing lines and performing. I got a kick out of it. And there was like, it was a different time. There was like a lot of I didn't write the script, but this is pre-political movement time. So there's like a lot of weird, like Santa said a lot of weird things to Mrs. Claus that nowadays would be like,
really?
Seems a little chauvinistic.
Okay.
But I mean, they were like, it would be funny if the little kids say that, and they're probably like writing the script. It's I'm like this little 2nd grade Santa. I'm 7 years old. I'm like, women can't live with them, can't live without them. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the parents were like, oh, those little kids.
Right.
But nowadays they'd be like, you're crucified for saying some of that stuff. But it's just weird how things. Maybe I should digitize that tape, share some clips on the internet. Oh boy, that'd be a bonus feature right there. So that's where I got hit with the acting bug. And then in 4th grade, I was in a bunch of plays. in the school because I was like, any chance there was for a play in 4th grade at that school, I was like, yes, I want to be in it. And then I was with my dad at some event, and I guess I had this puppet that I used to like play with. I was a weird kid. I don't know, I would just take it everywhere, and I would be like, meh, meh, meh. I guess I was waiting for him somewhere in some waiting room. And I was like, meh, meh, meh. And this old man went up to my dad and was like, you know what? I think he'd be really good in the children's theater. And he like gave him the card. He's like, you should call him. He'd probably be good for that. He looks like he likes to, perform and things like that. And so we went to an audition. The first one was for a melodrama of some like an old West melodrama. And I auditioned and I got a part in it. I was like the local street photographer, Bing. And I would like always interrupt scenes. I'm like, hold on, let me get a picture for the paper. It was like goofy. And then, so that was the first play I did. And the second one I did was a Christmas Carol. And I was cast as Tiny Tim. I mean, because I looked frail, like I was about to die. That only made sense to put me as Tiny Tim. Yeah, and I just did play after play after play, probably 2 or 3 plays a year.
Wow.
Through the children's theater until I got old. And I was like, all right. But after elementary school, I wasn't really as
I was
outgoing.
gonna say. So you graduated out of the children's theater, and they had some sort of company at the high school.
No. Children's theater was totally separate. It was strictly just a local thing.
All right. So, but you
they
had
still exist.
no interest in pursuing that. I guess is my point.
Yeah, because I felt like they kind of at high school age is kind of when the kids would kind of drop out from it. And I think I was just getting so busy, and I was starting to get into like filmmaking and stuff, and I wanted to get more into that. Because theater is basically an exaggerated version of acting. Because when you're on stage, you act, and this is the issue when you like hire somebody to be in your movie or your indie film that's only done stage acting, and they don't get the difference. Because theater is so like boisterous and like, oh my, what will you do, Sweeney Todd? And then it's like, all right, ready, action. Oh, what? It's like, whoa, whoa, reel it back and be a little more subtle. Be a little more subtle with the performance.
Yeah, there's no subtlety with stage acting.
Yeah, you have to, because you have to project and you have to be loud and you have to be so animated because they're not going to be edited. So you got to be entertaining.
You have to reach the audience in the back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, with not only your voice, but how entertaining you are on stage. And if you're just sitting there like, well, I just don't know how to feel about this. And it's like, what? Honey, what's going on in this play? So yeah, theater was a huge thing. So you did theater mostly through school though.
Yeah.
And so what are some plays you were in?
I was in Much Ado About Nothing. I was in Tommy.
What's Tommy? I don't know Tommy.
It's a musical.
Oh, see that I always shied away from musical because I was deathly afraid of singing in front of people. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a horrible singer, but I always just, when I was young, I used to sing with my dad in his band. He had a band, and I would like.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, I would sing with him, and then as I got older, I was like, no, I don't want to sing in front of people. I don't want to sing in front of people. Like I really got, I don't know what it was, but after I left that small school that I loved so much, and I went to the middle school, I was like, oh my god, real kids are scary. And I was like I was very introverted at school. I was very quiet.
Interesting.
But in person, but I loved hanging out with people, and I'm very social. I am a very outgoing person, but not in middle school, and just not in school. Something about school just threw me off.
Yeah.
Which is odd that I'm a teacher now.
Right.
But I teach elementary. Maybe that's why, because it was my favorite. Yeah. So what are some of the other musicals? You did some musicals.
Yeah.
Did you have singing parts?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was only in one musical, and I specifically signed up for it because they agreed to not give me a part that had singing in it.
Oh.
Bye Bye Birdie. I was in that one.
How old were you?
I was in high school.
Okay.
I was in high school. It's the only one. They were like, come on, you got to be in it. You got to be, you have acting experience. Be in it. I was like, it's a musical. I can't be doing it. Like, well, make sure you have a part that doesn't sing. I was like, okay.
And then you were in.
That's the only play I did in high school, though. They felt cheesy to me in high school.
Yeah. So obviously, you just want to act on camera now.
Yeah, and that's what I was doing. My buddies and I were making like fight scenes and doing.
That's
kind of
one
stuff.
of the things that I didn't realize how different they were until I started being in a couple of your shorts. Was
how much more subtle it is.
They're so different, and I love the camera work so much more than the stage work.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back to stage work. Nope.
No, it's weird. No. It's just that weird thing of like, if you don't get it right, sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you have like memorization is so much more important. I mean, it's good to have memorization in filmmaking too, but you've got chances to try different ways. Because if like, and that's what I always noticed. Because what they would do in our theater is we would have 3 shows. So it'd be like a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night show, and one of those shows they would film and produce a tape. And I have all of the tapes of the films I was in. And what was kind of funny is I'd be like, man, the Saturday show was, oh man, I nailed it on the Saturday show. And Sunday show, I made a mistake here, and and they'd always pick like the worst taping. Like it'd always be the worst day would be the one that was recorded. Like, man, can't edit that. But yeah, that's one of the cool things. You get to get all these different interpretations when you're filming. So you can see, oh, that take was really cool. Ooh, I didn't think it would work that way. And piecing together the story and the editing was probably why I liked filmmaking so much more. Theater was fun, but I don't know if I would ever go back either. Yeah. Because it is so different. I probably would like doing a play again. There's some kind of live stage show, but it's so different.
Definitely an adrenaline rush that you get on stage versus on film. Like film is like there's no pressure at all versus stage you have all the pressure.
Yeah.
I'm not so much of a fan of the nerves and things that go with that stage work.
Yeah, even when you're comfortable, you still get it. You still get it. Even if you're like, oh yeah, I'm totally confident. I know what I'm doing. You still get that little like... And my thing is, right before I go out, I'm like a wreck. And I'm like pacing.
Oh, it's awful.
But as soon as I step on, I like black out and I'm good.
Yep.
And then afterwards, like, oh yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, yeah. But until you step on that stage,
yeah, it's just like
ball of nerves. It's the worst. It is the worst.
The people who say that they don't feel that, I mean, they must be psychotic, because I don't understand how you don't feel something, unless maybe they just don't care. Different kind of people. Yeah. No, I guess I kind of still have that where, I do twice a year. I do big stage shows and dance parties for the kids at the school, and they're fairly well attended. Like we just did a big superhero one.
I was just gonna say, you just did one.
Yeah, where we came out and we did a big fight. We did an Avengers theme, and I was Spider-Man, and I did a big fight with Thanos, and so for the intro, I had that same feeling, even though it's kids, but it's like 500 kids.
Yeah,
so it's a little bit different, and their parents, and I try to put a good show on them. So all the Avengers were gonna come out and be introduced, and so like Captain America comes out, and we had Thor. I mean, we got like legit costumes and everything. Iron Man comes out and it introduces each of them, and then after they're like, all right, so we've got some of the heroes. If only we had some more, because I sort of run the thing. So I was like, I'll be the last one to come out. So I'm like behind the curtain, the rear curtain, and they're out front. And there's like little slits in each section of the panel. So I'm standing on this giant like rolled up mat thing. So I'm like about 6 feet in the air standing on it. And then the lights sort of go down and like, oh, have you seen any other heroes? And I like kind of peek out as Spider-Man, like Spider-Man's up there. And like jump out. I'm like, oh, I'm going to break my ankle on this. This is a pretty high jump. But I felt it back there behind the curtain. I'm just waiting. I'm like, here we go.
All right.
Like, boom. And then I'm just on, and then I just like jump out. And I had like silly string web shooters.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, which nobody knew about. And I come out, I like land, look around a little bit, and then it's like, shh, I'm like, oh, it's crazy. Apparently, one of the parents was there, and I'm not paying attention. I'm just shooting into the crowd. It's just darkness. I can't see anything. I guess I hit this parent that was just kind of like watching, just like, gotta do this stupid thing with my kids. And I guess I nailed him. Like, he just got like, and my coworker who played Captain America, he was like, dude, I thought he was gonna like jump up and beat the crap out of you, because it hit him, and he's just like, like he's not into it at all. He's just like, and I didn't even know. I'm just like, yeah, Spider-Man. Right. I don't care.
Yeah, because when the lights are on and stage lights are on, you can't see anything.
No, it's just a sea of if they have like glow bracelets.
Yeah.
Because the way the lights out.
That's funny.
Yeah, man. I guess I nailed him. So I guess he still didn't have a good time, but yeah. So theater is super different. But yeah, filmmaking and theater. Yeah, filmmaking and video games were always like my top two things: entertainment and acting, and which is why Game Dave finally, I was like, duh, making all these skits and things. Why don't I combine it with gaming? It only makes sense. They're my two biggest hobbies.
Right.
So you did some theater. Obviously, you've acted with me in some things. Any other interests in the arts and hobbies? I swear, Gerald and I are friends, despite me not knowing everything about Gerald.
I've recently, the past couple of years, I've really gotten into writing.
Right, yeah, I know. Yeah, how's that novel coming along?
Yeah, good. So yeah, the novella's finished and really polished, and the novel, the first draft, is completely finished.
At the end, if you're really missing your Gerald fix, we'll have ways of you to track what Gerald's up to.
This is news to me.
I figured it'd be a good idea. You got a Twitter, don't you?
That's fine. I need to. I do have a Twitter. I'm not active. I'm not active.
But you will be. They'll follow you. Well, if you feel like revealing your Twitter at the end, we will.
Yeah.
We'll pop that out. Gerald's only existence on the internet, which was made not until after Digitally Distracted even started.
Yeah. I'm really
no Facebook,
really
none of that.
Off the grid.
That's right. So they're gonna be itching to keep in touch with you.
You guys can stalk me that way.
That's right. Somebody's got to buy that novel. So what's the plan? So how does that work with writing? I mean, I like writing, but I also get very irritated with writing because I could write like a 1-page short story and then I'd probably be winded. So there's something now. Scripts are different to me, but writing like a book that somebody's gonna read, man, I don't know if it's just keeping track of it all would bother me. I'm gonna pause right there.
Pause.
I'm gonna keep it running though, because it might be back. Look, you know what? Sometimes Digitally Distracted gets interrupted. It's not like we're shooting this on a soundstage.
It's true.
It was DHL. Who doesn't get things from DHL? I do when they're from Japan. Amazon Japan package showed up.
Oh, nice.
So, for those of you who don't know, I like physical media as opposed to digital downloads. And there was a new Switch game that came out, Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon.
Wow.
Which is a Switch and PS4 game. Currently in America, it is digital only. However, what they're starting to do with Switch games is the physical versions, the Japanese physical versions, will look at what region your system is and will display English text.
Get out.
How about that?
That's pretty cool.
And apparently, according to Try from My Life in Gaming, Chocobo Mystery Dungeon Everybody is one of those games. Because I wanted this game, because I like the Chocobo Mystery Dungeon games from before. I was really excited when I heard it was announced, but I was like, oh, it's digital only.
Yeah, so talk to me about this. I'm not familiar with these games.
So they're RPG-ish. You go down, and they're sort of like dungeon crawl games, but you do it as Chocobo.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so fantasy RPG.
Like combines, two of your loves there.
Yeah, absolutely. A little tactical. And this is, I guess, I don't know if it would be like the third game or fourth game, maybe the fifth game. I think this is actually a remake of one that was released on maybe the DS. But the first two games were on PlayStation 1, Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon 1 and 2. And there was like a Chocobo Fables game or something like that, which was similar. And this is sort of a continuation of that series. A little Cactuar action on there. But yeah, supposedly this will play in English automatically when you load it up on a North American region Switch.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there was another, let me think. I Am Setsuna, which is another RPG on the Switch. The Switch version, same thing, will play in English, which is cool. Yeah. Now, sometimes they'll do that with Asia versions. If you get the Asia version, it'll have the option to switch to English subtitles, which is kind of cool. Yeah. So there you go. Little tip from Try. PS4 versions, unfortunately, they have a physical version of that in Japan as well, but it doesn't automatically convert to English. I wonder why they're doing that with Switch.
I don't know.
Very interesting. But cool. Thanks for the interruption. Very nice DHL lady.
Right.
She was like, hey, I just noticed your succulents are alive. I'm like, thank you. Yep, that's why we have succulents, because they generally don't die.
Right.
They stay alive.
Yep.
For the most part. That's why.
Hard to kill.
The only plants we can handle. So I don't know where we were, but I know we were talking about the plays and everything. And we were talking about
You were talking
art,
about writing and
you were talking about writing, and how for me
the scripts.
Yeah, scripts I can do, but yeah, long form writing, I think what it is that I get flustered because with as you obviously know now, you have to go back and forth, and you're keeping track of so many little story pieces. And I'm like, wait, what did I say back on page 47? Is that going to make sense wait, didn't I say that his brother was this?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even know where to get started. I would probably have to make a big, like, the old school, high school make your thought web,
Right.
make your brainstorming web, and have like, okay, this character, this is the things, these are all the things that happen to this character in the story. These are all the connections the character has with other characters, and then based on that, write it. So they'd be like, wait, who's he related? Who's his? Oh no, that's his cousin. Okay,
Right.
like I don't know if I could keep. How did you just start writing?
I mean, you start with an idea, and then you definitely have to plan and stay organized. Well, I have to plan.
What's
and
the
stay
first thing you
organized.
did when you wrote your novel?
What do you mean?
Novella.
Well, the novella, actually, I started as a short story.
And like, how long was that?
7 or 8 pages.
Okay.
And then
you're like, I'm gonna make this.
Yeah,
expanded.
I felt like I could flesh it out.
Okay, so you started by just typing it. You didn't like do like an outline or anything. That's pretty cool. I would have to do some kind of outline, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I even do that for like the storyline, like Game Dave the series stuff. I like do an outline.
Right. Now,
and then go back and fill it
when
in.
I decided to make it a novella, I had to use yeah.
Now see, I start at the end. I have to start at the end of like what I want the big reveal to be, and then I go back and tell how to get there.
Some
Did you
people
start
do
from
it.
the start or the
I
finish?
started from the start.
Now, it's not, I've heard others will start in the middle and then
Yep.
web out.
There's different ways to do it. There's a million different ways to do it. Whatever works best for your brain.
Yeah, that's cool. So there you go, Gerald the writer. Hashtag. We'll give you his Twitter.
Yeah.
Hashtag Gerald's Twitter.
I have to look it up. I don't even know what it is.
I know what it is. That'll be fine. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's not that complicated. I don't think it was. Yeah. So that's cool. So writing, yeah. Again, we're both very creative people, which is why we've always gotten along, despite little behind the scenes secret. Haven't seen each other in months. Haven't seen each other in months, but you wouldn't even know it. We pick right back up. Gerald and I have always been that way. We don't need to talk every day.
Yep.
We're fine. We met up. We caught up on everything that's going on. I'm like, oh, you're there. Oh, okay, cool. All right, back to it.
Yep.
It's not a big deal.
Nope.
It's all good. And yeah, so writing, a lot of creative interests we have, filmmaking, performing. Do you like more behind the scenes stuff or like off non-performance things like writing compared to like being on camera?
You know what? I think so. I like being on camera, but I am not a huge fan of all the work that goes into the behind the scenes for camera work. So like all the work that you do,
all the stuff I have to do after
gosh.
Gerald leaves.
Yeah. So like I'm here for like the easy part, and everything else, I don't look like this in real life. It's all editing that Dave does.
Except the shirt that Gerald wore in episode 18 that there were many comments about. That was all Gerald.
I don't even remember.
You got some comments. You wore a button up. This is your first button up.
Oh!
You just threw a button up on.
I ran out of tees.
I believed it was tucked in too.
Remember
we said, you got an interview after this? Remember, I think it's the joke I made.
I don't know why I wore that. I think I'd ran out of tees. I was probably trying to dress it up. Nop Top, he made some kind of like flash little
comment, did he?
Yeah.
So he must have recognized.
Yeah.
Check the comments out.
And I actually didn't even recognize myself in the little clip, but I don't even know why.
So good.
Maybe it was a long day. I don't know.
Fashionista. You had a lot going on. Oh man, so good.
Yeah.
So good. Other interests? Anything that's like non-creative, like sports? Big sports boy?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, neither of us are.
No.
Neither of us are sports boys.
I hit the gym really hard from like 21 to 31.
Well, even when I met you years and years, well, I guess it would have been, let's see, 8, 9, probably. I probably met you 10, 11 years ago. At that point, you were hitting the gym pretty hard, if I remember.
Yeah, that was at the tail end of it.
Gerald really does a lot of gym in it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
You actually went to you had a gym membership, right? Where were you at? Which one were you using?
I was at a couple, but I think at the time I was probably at Snap.
Snap Fitness?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a gym membership in high school. No. Right out of high school. I got a gym membership at what was formerly Gold's Gym.
I hate that place.
Horrible.
No matter what skin you put on that gym, I hate it. I've tried it like 3 or 4 times.
Horrible. And it was back when, now gyms are struggling to keep people. So they're like, $10 a month. Almost every gym now is $10 a month with no contract. And it's like, wait, you used to have a contract to go to the gym? Yeah. It was like renting an apartment. It was like getting a lease.
Yeah.
And you couldn't break the lease. It is so hard to get. It used to be so hard to get out of the gym. It was impossible.
It's still not easy for some of those.
It's
agreements.
getting better. But the $10 a month, that's like fine. I mean, it was like $50 a month. Yeah. Something stupid to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And I was like, really?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was they were also like, well, it motivates you to come every day. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. I was like 3 days a week, and that's when I was like, I was tiny. So my goal back then was to bulk up and put weight on.
I know that game.
And it didn't really do much. Like maybe I got more tone, but I was just like a skinny tone dude.
Yep.
In college. And then it wasn't until 26 it started to hit me. I'd say 27, 26 is when I started to be like, okay, so what I eat matters now. But I think I look way better now, like just having a little bit more weight on as I get older. What I was telling Gerald when we, met up here again today is the last 2 or 3 months I've been, lost like 14 pounds because I was getting a little pudgy. It's always funny in the comments. It was like, oh, Game Dave got fat. And it's like, well, more like Game Dave just eats. Like I wouldn't say I was ever fat, but I definitely belly wise, I was like, hey, whoa, hello. I don't even want to go to the bathroom anymore because I got to see this.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's when I was like, this is it. This is where I have to maintain. I can't eat a half dozen Dunkin' Donuts at work. Being an elementary school teacher is the worst because a student is always having a birthday.
Right.
And if you're a teacher that's well liked, they will,
as you are.
There's most kids like me. They bring in cupcakes and there's always extra cupcakes. And what do the kids usually do? They're like, can I give another teacher these or whatever? And they'll ask their teacher and they'll come around and they always come to me, Mr. Thomas, do you want a cupcake? I'm like, oh, and you can't say no because then you crush them. What I have done, I hope they're not watching. What I have, the older students that have since moved on from our school, I hope they're not watching because it's like, what I have done, I am guilty of this. Absolutely, buddy. Oh, thank you so much. Thanks.
See the acting? You see the acting?
And I throw it away. I can't. But most of the time, I would just eat it. I'd be like, oh, yeah, man. Eat right in front. Yeah, here's what I do. I make the cupcake sandwich. You ever do that?
No, but I
split and cut. Then you don't make a mess.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, like I haven't had much to eat today. And I'm just thinking like I might stop by, get a donut or something because you said donut and I'm like,
dude, man, it's great. And teachers love to just grab a dozen donuts or whatever. Now our art teacher, love her. She's so good. Our art teacher, she's great. I do a lot of things to promote some of like her fundraising things.
Yeah.
Whenever I help her with a project, the next day she'll get me Dunkin' Donuts. And I'm talking like not a couple munchkins or a donut. She'll get me a half dozen donuts. And I remember the first year she did it, she was like, Dave, what's your favorite Dunkin' Donut? I was like, oh, Boston cream.
And you just, yes.
Boston cream.
Yes.
I love Boston cream donuts.
Yes. No. First of all, I love Boston cream. Stop.
Period.
But yes, donuts do fall into that
Boston
category.
Cream donut. And I was like, yeah, Boston cream donuts would be great. I love Boston cream. So I thought she might bring me one maybe because I could tell what she was doing. She brought me a half dozen Boston cream donuts only. That's it. 6 Boston cream donuts on my desk. Thanks for your help.
Heaven in a box right there.
Every time I do something for her, she brings me 6 Boston cream donuts from Dunkin' Donuts to eat.
Man,
and I used to eat all of them before I'd leave for the day. I'd have one when
6? Are you
It's terrible. I know it's bad.
Wow.
So I would eat. When she would the morning.
See,
like,
I'm sure there's some viewers out there. You guys, you're in your teens, early 20s.
Like, I do that all the time.
What's the big deal?
I eat 12 donuts. I eat 3 pizzas by myself.
Whatever.
This is after.
You will see. Live it up.
30.
Yuck it up now.
Yeah. This is after 30 metabolism. So it is not the same situation you might be dealing with.
Yeah, we both had super fast metabolisms growing up. We couldn't put weight on for anything.
Yeah, and Gerald and I have the same body issue where everything goes to our belly. Nowhere else. Like we can hide that we're overweight as long as we're like, because we're always doing that constant, like that little suck in, no matter where we are. I'm sure you're like, walking around just feeling a little bit. But you and I both, I mean, you lost a lot of weight before we started the show, really. And then I'm starting to get back into where I was.
Yeah, I was almost up to 200.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Could you imagine? I can't. I think I saw you once or twice when you were in that like worst area. And I think you were taking your dog outside when we pulled up.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Hey man, hey." And I was like, "Oh my god, what happened to Gerald?"
You never shared that with me.
I couldn't.
I remember
what
that.
if I Yeah, we came and you're on the shorts and you had like the belly. I was like, what do I Hey man, looking bad. Looking real bad.
I wish you would have said something. That would have been a wake up call for me.
Gerald had just gotten very comfortable.
Well, there were a couple things going on. I was comfortable. There were a couple things going on.
And I totally get those things because those have caused me to gain weight too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Now there's other people who are looking like, what are you talking? You guys are skinny.
It's true.
We hide it very well. You wouldn't know because I was overweight. You know, and then I was at my heaviest. I was 172. 172. And I always think back to when I did the Jackie Chan fitness video, Zavixport, years ago. And you had to put in your weight and your birth date and all that. And I was like, oh, I'm about $150. 150. I was 150 when I did that. I was 172. You might be like, oh, it's only 22 pounds. That's a lot of weight.
That's a lot
on this frame. And, you know, commenters noticed. I've been on my channel for over 7 years. It's kind of, you know, or no, not 7 years, about 6 years. I don't even know now. Hold on. Yeah, 6 years. 6 years on the channel. So you can see, you watch my first video that's publicly available, and then you watch like a more recent video before now. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It happened.
But geez, man, a half dozen of Boston creams.
Yeah, so I eat one when in the morning at like 8 o'clock.
Jeez. And that's not the only thing you're eating, too, right?
No, I have lunch. And so I eat that in the morning, and then like 10 o'clock before my first main class of computer, I'll eat another one. And then I'll have lunch, and I'll eat one for like dessert. This is what I used to do. I don't do this anymore. She actually brought me a half dozen when I started my workout routine. I couldn't eat any of them. I was like, this sucks. I cannot eat. I ate half of one, and then I had to do an extra workout that night. And the extra workout burned just enough calories to take care of that half of a donut.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, I had to gamify it. I had to gamify my eating and working out, or I never would have happened. So I used, the app that everybody uses, the MyFitnessPal app, and just had to track calories. And everything I did, I put it in. And it's such a hassle, but once you get used to doing it, it's like, oh no, it's just like opening up Twitter and checking my Instagram. I just put in my food.
Yeah,
I know it's super exciting. Don't get too excited. So fitness has been a thing that has always interested me. But I'm finally kind of taking it seriously. I mean, it's not like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not like ripped or anything. I'm just trying to not die.
Yeah.
Is the goal. Not die and not get as many comments about how swollen I look. Game Dave, you look really inflamed. Got a lot of inflammation going on. Yeah, and it's just 6 Boston cream donuts.
Jeez, man.
I know. I don't do it anymore. But yeah, cupcakes, whatever. Kids will bring me cookies. It's hard.
Jeez.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
But with fitness, the only sports-related thing I liked, aside from, I don't like working out. I hate it. I mean, I like strength training. Who doesn't? It's fun. It's fun to be like, yeah, and you feel it. And you're like,
yeah, I do.
I feel huge right now, but you're not. Cardio, I hate running.
Ugh.
Yeah. But you got to do it.
Yeah.
But the only sport-related activity that I used to play baseball when I was young. My dad was a really good baseball player.
I do remember that.
Yeah, my dad was an amazing pitcher. Great baseball player. He could have been in the minors. Great player. He could have been in the minors. But he probably could have, but his grades were terrible. So in high school, he got kicked off the team.
That's too bad.
But sorry, Dad. Sorry to embarrass you on the internet. But martial arts, that was the only sport that I was really into. And I did Ishinru karate, which I loved. Ishinru karate was, it's a local established form in this area with Rigby's.
Okay.
And that was my first experience. I loved it. Fell in love with it. Oh my gosh. Love martial arts movies, Jackie Chan, so on and so forth. Then I did Jeet Kune Do, which was Bruce Lee's martial art. I did Jeet Kune Do in sort of a small group setting. It was very like Fight Club-esque, and it scared me. I did it for a while, and then I was like, I can't do this anymore. And it was a girl I was dating. Her friend was in it. And he was like, oh, you like martial arts? You should totally come with me to Jeet Kune Do. I was like, Jeet Kune Do? I didn't know there's a Jeet Kune Do school around here. Not something you normally see. It's based on a lot of like Kung Fu and things like that, which is fast Kung Fu. And I was like, sure, I'll go. And I did a couple classes. I really liked it, but it was a little too intense. At the end of class, you'd learn a couple moves or whatever. It's a lot of self-defense stuff, a lot of quick moves. And at the end of each class, what they would do, everybody would get in a big circle. And the Sifu would call someone out to the middle, say, call your name, and you'd go to the middle, and you would have to, and each person would come at you and attack you.
Get out.
And not with pads or anything. They would just try to do a move on you, and your goal was to use some technique from the night to avoid it or block it or deal with it. Yeah. So, and people would get hit.
Jeez.
Yeah. It wasn't like, I'm used to like sparring where you put on the gloves, you put on your like good muffler, and you get the helmet on. I wasn't used to that. I was like, holy crap. I was like, don't pick me, don't pick me, don't pick me. I got picked, but they were way easy on me. It was so obvious. They were like, and would like wait. I'm like, oh, it was so obvious that they were like, he's little. He's little. But I mean, one guy got a bloody nose, and the other thing, now if you didn't pull your punches well, you did get in trouble. You'd have to do like push-ups and stuff if you didn't pull, and so the guy like popped somebody, you'd have to. But the chance of it happening was very high.
Right.
Like, I don't like that. This is a little too much. I like the art part of martial arts. Let's just say that. I don't do martial arts because I want to learn how to like, kick somebody's butt. I don't want to try to beat
people.
Do
you like the forms?
I like forms a lot. I like the style of it. I love learning forms. That's my favorite thing. And then the last martial art that I did was Kung Fu. Finally got to do Northern Shaolin Kung Fu with a legit master, and it was a invite-only thing that my dad stumbled upon. My dad was trying to find a Tai Chi instructor. And there was this old newspaper ad that the Sifu had put in there years ago, back when he had a school. And the school closed down, and he was just doing it at home, so he never longer had the school. So the number was still his cell phone. And when he called him, he was like, I don't really do the school anymore. And he was from China. And it's like,
wow.
I was like, yeah, I don't really do the school anymore. We just sort of, meet at my home. I have a sort of area where we work out. He's like, if you're interested, he's like, some of my former students still meet. I mean, maybe you can come and see how it works. So sort of like a tryout to see if he fit in with them. It's weird. So he went, and it was the older crowd did the Tai Chi stuff, and it was like the legit long form of Tai Chi, which is like,
which you would love, right?
Tai Chi's good. Tai Chi is very slow, but it's actually a very powerful art if you really know what the moves are doing. And so I went with him to one of the adult classes, but then the younger crowd would do Kung Fu. And I was like, wait, they do Kung Fu? He's like, you should come back for a Kung Fu class. But my dad did it, and he accepted him, and he was like, all right, you can be part of it. It wasn't like a pay thing. You would like, they had a little basket, a little Chinese basket, and you would throw money in there as like tips. But you didn't have to pay anything. You just went, and you were just part of this group. And my dad did the Tai Chi, and then he was like, well, bring your son. So I came out, and sometimes they would meet at the beach. And we're at the beach, and I come up, and he's like, oh, nice to meet you. He's like, oh, you did martial arts before? I was like, yeah, a little bit of, just some karate. Because I don't know, trying to sound like I kind of knew it. He's like, okay. Oh, yeah, he's like, all right, come on. And I was like, what? So he like pulled me out, and he's like, show me what you can do. I was like,
and he's like some master, right?
Yeah. I'm like, you want me to like attack you? I was like, okay. So I was just started, he was like blocking everything. He was like, whoop, 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 whoop. And I was like, oh, I couldn't do anything. It was hilarious. He was like, you have a fire. I'll bring you on. He's like, come next week, Kung Fu. I was like, okay. So we met. It was twice a week, and we did in the winter. It would be strength conditioning, because it was too cold.
Yeah. And
then in the spring and summer, we would do forms outside of his house. Yeah, and it was like Miyagi.
Yeah,
level.
that sounds amazing.
It was so intense though, and it was like, I knew I wasn't able to dedicate, so I did it for about a year, and I was like, I can't. He didn't do belts or anything. He's like, everybody here is a black belt, because you will know so much more than at a paid, established sort of situation. I mean, it was a little like, we did iron palm training. I don't know if you know about that. Palm training is where you basically blow your hands up to make it which is stuff that kind of scares me. That kind of stuff where you build up your strike strength.
Gotcha.
So you start with this very basic bag, and it has like a soft material in it, and you're doing all the strikes. You're doing like tiger strikes and dragon strikes on the bag to build up your hand strength. Because he's like, baby hands. We have build up hands. I'm like, oh man, baby hands. That's me. He's like, oh, I have baby hands. So I have to build up hands. He'd always say that to me. It's like, I gotta work on those. And then you would move up, and then you would do sawdust in the bag, and then you would put BBs in the bag, and it would get harder and harder and harder, and then you would move up and you would do it on brick, which is so I would come home and my hands would be like these swollen, like I was like, oh my god, I was like, I'm not doing iron palm anymore. I'm like, and I like researched it. It can build up muscles in it, but it can also, arthritis and things like that. So I was like, it is very traditional, old school. It's just not something I was into. So the conditioning didn't do it for me, but when it came to forms, the last part, and then I'll move on because I'm sure they're tired of hearing about it. So then with forms, he would, based on that initial fight or sparring, he would sort of see what your body type fit. Because you didn't just learn everything. So he would assign you a kung fu animal. So I got, like one of the guys was monkey. He did all the monkey style forms. There was a guy that he was real scrappy. He was like a wrestler type. And then another guy, really tall guy, he did tiger. So he did all the tiger forms. And then for me, of course, he was like, you will be mantis. Mantis. And I loved it. Mantis forms are awesome. Like, so he did like mantis strikes and things like that.
So it was, he matched you really well then.
Yeah, I loved it. It was awesome. And then you would get assigned a weapon, your first weapon. So one guy did 3-section staff. One guy did with like the hooks, I don't know what they're called. I always forget what they're called.
Yeah.
And I was just regular bow staff is what I did. So I did bow staff and mantis. I learned most of the first 3 mantis forms, which were awesome, but they're very difficult. It is not karate. Karate is very choppy. It's very like, ooh, very. Whereas Kung Fu is like, it doesn't look like it stops.
Flows,
yeah, everything connects to everything. So you have to know it's not like, oh, it's this punch, this block, this hit, this uppercut. It's, all right, so you're moving up through here, and then you're doing this, you fall back into this stance, and then you do a spin kick. It's just like so much. I miss it, but at the same time, like it is something you have to be dedicated to, and I just didn't feel like I was giving it what I should as much as I loved it. I mean, it was all, Kung Fu is by far my favorite.
Wow.
So that's the tales of Dave's martial arts. Let's take a game break. Okay, so I've got one final package here. I apologize in advance if there is anything that is on its way to the P.O. Box or anything that has been sent to the P.O. Box. Worst case scenario, follow me on Twitter @NextGameDave, and if we receive anything after the season ends, I will be sure to show that on Twitter and take a look at it, so don't worry, but I apologize if you were hoping it'd be on Digitally Distracted. But I have this right here. It's from Anubis the Red. Anubis the Red. A little fan mail for this game break. Use my martial arts knifing skills here. I never learned anything with knives. What's your favorite martial arts weapon, Gerald? If you had to pick a nice, cool weapon, like think sword or blunt or sharp object.
I think the hooks are kind of pretty cool.
Hooks are pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, mine used to be. It was for the longest time. It was Tonfa, which are the Suikoden 2 main characters' main weapons. I mean, what main character in RPG has Tonfa? It just doesn't happen. The batons. But I also like Sai. I learned a little bit of Sai. I did a little bit of nunchuck work in my martial arts days.
Those batons are cool. Man, they are cool.
You can do some really cool things
with
I bet. Tonfa. All right. Oh, boy. We're in. We're in, baby. Note on top. Here we go. Game Dave. Thank you for keeping me entertained for hours with your rambling.
He's got you. He has got your number.
Thank you for keeping me entertained for hours with you rambling on by means of useless information and worthless facts that will not put food nor drink on my table. But maybe you can put these 2 cups on your table that's in front of you during your digitally distracted videos. Instead of them 2 bland cups. Seriously, keep up the good work, you and the little fella next to you.
He's got my number 2.
He's got you. Anubis the Red. Man.
That's funny.
How awesome and sad. that we finally get to reveal these.
Oh, yeah, it's so sad.
Oh, man.
Season 2. Now we have to do a season 2, right?
Something's going to happen.
Now we have to do a
Gotta
season
do
2.
something. Or at the very least, if we ever do any live streams together, these are what you better bring your cup with you.
I still want to play Athena.
Bring your cup with you. I assume they're the same, but who knows?
Yeah, we'll open them both up. Oh my gosh! Wow. I'm sure they're the same. That's amazing. Yep.
That is awesome.
Wow.
Game Dave digitally distracted. Right from the channel. That is so cool.
That's amazing.
Thank you so much, Anubis the Red. Let me just switch. Yeah. Let me switch my gin over. I mean, these haven't been washed either, but I don't care. It's for the show.
I might steal this.
Let's see how it is
when I leave.
Well, yeah, you're gonna have to. It's yours officially.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Oh. And it drinks so well. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Anubis. What a great. Unfortunately, yeah. Thank you so much, man. That is so cool. That's awesome. Thanks for getting those custom made.
That's cool. Really cool.
That is awesome stuff. Well, thank you so much, and that's gonna do it for the game break.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, man, got some awesome people out there.
Yeah, we do.
So good.
Well,
so
you
good.
do.
Oh, well. That's right. It's that PlayStation Classic review, which people were very, very disjointed about. So yeah, martial arts. Talked about our theater and acting and creative arts. I know also you've got some others.
Yeah, I love board games.
Love them.
Yeah. I've gotten into that recently, the past couple of years. Eldritch Horror, hands down my favorite.
Yeah, we've had some board game nights. They've been awesome. Yeah, need to make that happen. We are well, there's going to be some location changes. You heard it here first, maybe, unless they've made a video about it. Some location changes happening, so depending on the setup, might have to put together some more regularly occurring board game nights. But get a crew together to start doing that.
That'd be fun. That'd be a good time.
But go on.
Yeah, so Eldritch Horror, Tricarion is another favorite. I like heavy board games.
Yes, not the simple.
No.
Though, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a little Splendor.
No.
Have you seen the expansion?
I have seen it. I have not played it.
Picked it up.
Really?
We have Splendor in the expansion, so I have to try that.
Get
soon.
out.
Yeah, where you have your little.
I gotta
area.
say, I love. Most of my friends really weren't into board games. I invite them over for board game night.
And they
kind of get my hooks in them.
Yeah, it takes a little while to get some people.
Yeah.
Ours was because when the game table opened up, which was a board game store around here. My buddies and I would go to it's called Our Game Table. And that's where we discovered, because they had sort of, if you were signed up as a member, it was like a monthly membership, then you could go to the back and they had you could get any board game off of this shared library shelf of games. I don't know if you ever went there.
Occasionally, but I wasn't part of the club.
Yeah, so we signed up very quickly, and we just would try a new game, and we'd all get around and play these games. It was a great way, and then we'd end up buying some of them. So it was a really cool idea. Unfortunately, the money wasn't there, as most small businesses, seem to go by the wayside. But
there were some issues with management too. Well, not so much management, but staffing and things. From what I understand.
Yeah. It was difficult. It's not easy.
No.
It's not easy to do something like that. And they the way they opened up that area, I think it was so cool.
Yeah.
That's where I discovered Carcassonne, which is probably my favorite board game, non-traditional board game.
European.
For sure. Love Carcassonne. Munchkin. I discovered Munchkin for the first time, and there's sort of like unique card games and things like that. And then just moving on to things like Dominion. Dominion's a really fun one. I'm a big fan of Dominion as well. Yeah, but I also like the silly games too. You know what I don't? Everybody's like, oh, you like kind of unique things like apples to apples, right? I'm like, I don't like apples to apples. Doesn't feel like a game.
Yeah.
That to me is a laugh with your friends game. It's not. It's like a party favor thing. It's not something that is like strategic.
Right.
Or even like the shared or the co-op games like Pandemic. That's a really fun one where you're working against the game. Those are really cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of cooperative games.
Yeah, and then Settlers. Everybody knows Settlers. Settlers Catan. You know what? I kind of liked the one that we played not that long ago. King of Tokyo was simple and fun. That was really fun. I almost bought that the other day. So they actually have it at Target now.
Yeah.
Target is starting to sell a lot of the more obscure board games. I'm noticing. But Amazon, they're just cheaper on Amazon. That's the problem.
Yep.
Probably put our game table out of business as part of it
Probably.
because it's like they would sell it at the retail.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted to buy Carcassonne there so bad. I bought a couple games there, but it was hard to justify.
It's hard. It is.
Because on Amazon they had the Carcassonne Big Box, which had all the expansions up to that point and the main game in the big box, and it was almost the same price as getting the standard base game at our game table. And back then, I wasn't making nearly the money I make now. Not that I make a lot of money, but I'm saying I didn't have any disposable income. I had no choice. But that's the problem. I would love to have supported them more, but that's where I paid for the membership, so that was my way of to sort of help.
Right.
Yeah. It's a shame, but board gaming is not just Monopoly and
oh my gosh,
and Sorry.
There's
so much out there.
So much out there, and Kickstarter's helped a ton with that. There's a lot of games out there now that are funded.
I want to get the Ghostbusters one that sort of plays out like D&D sessions, where you pick up Ghostbusters and you set up the rules and everything.
I'd play that.
It's like a one session sort of D&D thing for the Ghostbusters game. I'd like to try it. I've heard mixed things about it, but I'd like to pick that up. It's not too expensive. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd play that. I'd be in for that.
I think it sort of has the style of the IDW comic book series, which is, the main original guys, which is kind of cool. So we'll see. It might be something to try.
Yeah.
But wow, the first half of this was very long. I do have one more piece to go on with the topics. We've sort of talked about some hobbies and things. This might be interesting. Maybe we can get one from each of us. It might not be too specific, but this is from Gary Meacher. Gary Meacher. Topic idea, gaming and dating. So Dave dipped into this when he mentioned he sold his games to appease his girlfriend. How have the other adventures in dating gone in the lives of Gamer David, Game Dave, and Gerald, and Lil G, as you're known, of course? Oh, man. I don't have any others that were super specific to gaming, but I could probably think of at least a sort of amusing / sad, embarrassing dating tale. Do you have any interesting?
I could make a whole episode on this.
Well, give us one amusing gaming tale.
I don't
sort of
have
finish
so
out
much of a gaming
finale.
tale, so as much as, I'm older and wiser now. I'm not married. I'm single.
Single and ready to dingle? Is that what it's called? No, mingle.
Mingle. Yeah.
Mingle.
And yeah, and honestly,
follow him on Twitter.
That's one of the things I look for in a partner is, do you like board games, and is that something that you would enjoy? It's important to me. It's a hobby.
They're like, what do you mean board games?
Yeah, well, that's just
I've played Life.
Yeah. If they don't understand that part of my life, it's just not gonna work.
You don't get me.
It's just not gonna work, It's like, that's a waste of time. Why do you even do that? I'm like, all right, this isn't gonna go anywhere.
Dang. Man, that's intense. Okay, that's pretty funny. That's good to know. And okay, so all right. So in college, oh gosh. So weird. In college, it's funny to think about, these are people that are like married and probably have kids now, and like kind of talking not so great about them. No offense to any people we ever talk about.
They were young.
I was in college. I was in college. And I met this girl, and she was younger than me. She was a freshman, I believe. I was a little older. And she was young. And I could kind of tell she liked me, and it's just one of those weird things where you just kind of fall into a relationship. It's not like, hey, it's not like the old days where, will you like to go steady with me? That doesn't happen anymore. I don't think that happens. I don't think people say, hey, do you want to be boyfriend, girlfriend?
There is a conversation that you should end up having when you end up being exclusive. So are we exclusive? Are we, I've had that conversation.
Yeah.
Recently.
Interesting. See, I don't think I've ever
Didn't work out.
Ooh. I've never had that conversation where it's like, hey, do you want to be exclusive? Because it just kind of falls. It's like, oh, it's just so obvious that you are. I've never had an issue where it's felt like it wasn't.
Yeah, times have changed.
Yeah. See, again, I got through it before all that stuff.
I would agree with you. Back in the day,
it was more just like, oh yeah, we are together.
Yeah. Yep.
After what just happened at the Walmart, the 24-hour Walmart trip. I don't know what that would mean.
Yeah,
actually.
I don't really understand.
My initial was I was making fun of the fact that I just hanging out at a Walmart, but then I'm like, what could you buy at Walmart? Oh, that's not what I meant. Try it on.
I don't know where he's going with this.
Don't know where he's going. No, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant at all, and I apologize to all ages of viewers out there. So anyway, it was just one of those things where we hung out. Like, I don't know how we met. I don't really remember. I think we met through a group of hallmates that were hanging out, and we just kind of like talked a little bit. And I was, I was being goofy Game Dave, gabbing it up, making some jokes, and I was like, oh, this guy's funny. Which is going to come back to the end of this story. So we were dating for a little bit.
What's a little bit?
Oh, I don't know, several months.
Okay.
And I was always, it was okay. I wasn't like fully there, and I knew I was going to be leaving the school soon. And the issue was she just didn't like jump out. It wasn't like, yeah, this gal, this is it. She gets it. And it came down to, we would be out with other people. And, I like being in social situations. I like talking to people. I like meeting new people. I mean, that's why I love going to conventions and getting to meet the fans. I just love interacting with people. Probably be like, oh, Game Dave seems so fake. It's like, no, I'm just like I get very excited. I'm, again, extrovert. A true extrovert feeds on interacting with people and being social. And that gives me energy. And like, why is he so energetic right now? Shouldn't he be wiped out? And then the introverts, the idea isn't that they hate being around people. It's just, it takes more energy to interact with people socially. Right? I hope that's right.
No, you're right.
Okay.
Right.
Game Dave talks about stuff he doesn't know anything about.
Stick to the games.
Yeah, so we were stick to what you know. So we were in a social situation, and whenever we were in a social situation, I would like, something would be said, and I would make some remark, like to make a joke, and it'd be, some laughter there. I'm not saying I was like, oh man, I was so funny, I was crushing it. I'm just saying, make a little joke, and I'm like, oh yeah. And what would happen is she would immediately piggyback on the joke and make a comment to go with it, and it would never hit. And it was just like that. It's so awkward. And it's like, she's with me. She's with me. And it was that thing. I was like, I have to break up with her because she's not funny. And not funny enough, but it's not even like, you don't even have to be funny. You don't have to be like some comedian for me to find you attractive.
I mean, it just sounds like it just didn't gel.
The issue was she didn't know when not to try to be funny. Man, this makes me sound like a really mean person. It was very awkward. It was like, she was like, I don't know what it would be, but like, oh, don't put your feet in those shoes. Am I right? Like, she'd be like, I know because I wear heels. And it's like, what did she say? Is that Dave's girlfriend?
Right.
I was like, oh, and I was like embarrassed by her, but it was just like weird. We just weren't on the same.
Yeah, it just didn't click.
Plane of existence. And, it was a very awkward. I'm not proud of it, but I used the I'm moving excuse. And I remember months later, I got a AOL instant message. Because, that
Back
was
in
the
those
thing.
days.
Back in those days, I got an AOL instant message from her who I had not talked to. And she was like, I can't keep racking my brain. I just wonder, what was the real reason? What was the real reason? I was like, what? I was moving. We weren't. It wasn't.
So she knew.
Right. She knew there was something else.
You women,
Shoot. Why are you so smart?
Sixth sense, I
don't like that you're smarter than us. It's a real problem. Yeah, so she knew that something was right. She was like, okay, fine, whatever. I just wish you could be up front. I was like, well, I don't think she would have wanted me to be. I mean, I wouldn't want a girl to be like, hey, look, we got to break up because you're just so cringy. Yeah,
it would have been difficult.
Which I am.
But I think she would have appreciated it in the long run.
But how do I say, hey, I just want to look, I know I'm moving away and you're a great girl and all, but you're just not funny.
No, you don't even have to say that. Just say it just doesn't click. We're not clicking.
That's what those are the things I was like, yeah, I feel like we just weren't working. And like, she was like, yeah, but why? What was it that wasn't working? Like, she just kept pushing. And I was like, I am not here to destroy your self-esteem, honey.
Yeah.
Don't let me, if you're having fun piggybacking off of jokes poorly, who am I to stop her?
That's true. I can see that.
All I can do is stop the relationship, which I
can see that.
So who knows what she's up to. Yeah. So there's my answer, Gary. So there's your story. Hopefully, Gerald and I gave you a nice little tidbit of information. So with that,
man,
as I set down the white tablet for the last time here, a couple of pieces of information before we close out the show. First of all, I just want to say I'm moving. I'm going to be hopefully soon. I'm moving. This is it. If and when Digitally Distracted comes back in whatever form that may be, it won't be here, which is kind of crazy. Been looking for a new place. My family's growing a bit, so and I'm outgrowing the game room. I mean, there's too many stacks.
Yeah.
When things start getting stacked, that's how you know the shelf space isn't ideal, and the home space. So love this house. Been here for 7 years. But it's time to move on to something bigger and better, sort of find that forever home. And with that, a better studio space, a more apt studio space for what I want to do with the future of the channel. And this seems like a great point to sort of make this sort of finale and see what is on the horizon, whatever that may be. It has been awesome. And for starters, I want to say special thanks to Gerald for coming along with this. I was like, hey man, I want to do this show, and are you on board for this? You want to try this? And I think it's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
I'm glad. Well,
I can't believe we've done 20. That's crazy.
Yeah, 20 episodes, and they might be like, oh, well, in podcast terms, you're not really a podcaster till you do 100. But ours is not your typical podcast, I would say. It's different because ours is very much like topical. We're not just talking about news or, it's different. It's not like we have guests on or anything.
Right.
But it's been fun. I like having the video side, like having the audio side. I know a lot of people out there appreciate the audio version they can listen to. And so that's the second thing I want to say is to all of you out there who've watched it and supported the Digitally Distracted show. It was sort of, I was like, we'll see. I mean, it's been great.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
You guys have really, really taken on to it. And even the audio version, it's been very enjoyable. But and then another big special thanks has got to go out to Kevin Hoover. Kevin Hoover, my man, that guy. I don't know what Kevin Hoover cannot do. You may not have seen Kevin Hoover, but you've heard Kevin Hoover, and you've seen his work because Kevin Hoover helped arrange the music for the theme song for Digitally Distracted. I wrote some things in my synth organizer and a pattern organizer and then sent that over to him, and he made it what it is. So he was basically, the guy who made the theme song happen based on my little ramblings that I did in my music production software. He also single-handedly created the introduction and graphics in 3D space
really
for
good.
Digitally Distracted
Really
logo.
polished.
So that is all Kevin Hoover. So Kevin, you're the man. I'll talk to you soon. He put it together, and he helps with the channel and the behind the scenes all the time because he's just, great friend of the show. Great friend of the show. Yeah, thanks to everybody. And Gerald, how do you feel about people following you on Twitter?
It's strange. This is my first kind of foray into any sort of
non-acting.
Yeah, any kind of
just being in
internet.
my skitlets.
Yeah, it's strange. So, but yeah, I mean, I maybe it'll motivate me to be a little bit more active
Interactive.
on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, Twitter's probably the best option. So if you want to keep up with Gerald, I'll put the link in the description as well. But if you want to keep up with Gerald and what is happening with him or just check in with him or say hey, his Twitter handle is Gerald Mood.
I'm glad you remember.
It's just your name.
It's just my name.
Gerald Mood. GeraldMood. So it's twitter.com/Gerald Mood. And I'll put that up or put that in the description, and maybe it'll motivate you to start getting some notifications.
Yeah, I'll have to find out how it works.
Yeah, they'll be like, hey, watched you on Digitally Distracted. That's where I found you.
If I don't respond to you, it's not because I'm ignoring you. I just don't know how.
Yeah, he's got to download the app. On
how the app
no,
works.
No, you have the app, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's for first foray. So help Gerald out, get him started.
Yeah, give me a reason to come back to it.
Yeah. Get him involved on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. And of course, I'm not going anywhere. I'm stuck on this channel forever. I'm not going anywhere. But I'll be keeping you all updated with the move and sort of how that's going. It could be very soon. It could be a little bit later on. But I'm probably going to have to do a video talking about how the heck do you move a game room. Because this is going to be... When I moved here, I didn't have nearly what I have now. And it's going to be tricky.
That's a lot.
Pre-orders, man. Pre-orders are killing me. Darn that Best Buy Gamers Club Unlocked, give me 20% off. I'm like, oh, I gotta buy it, 20% off.
Right.
Oh, man, a lot of sealed games over there. But it's been great. And we just want to say thank you so much for getting digitally distracted with us. I'm Game Dave.
I'm Gerald.
Take care.